I'm Harrison Graham. The NFL preseason is here, and I am going to break down 10 Bears players with a heavy emphasis on 5 that I think need to ball out during these 3 preseason games for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's for a chance to make the roster. Maybe it's just to show enough to make the practice squad, or maybe it's someone who's pretty safe to make the team, but if they ball out in the preseason, could earn a starting role. So we'll take a look at those players here in a moment. But guys, our next milestone is 127,000 subscribers. Listen, our watch parties are here. Starting on Sunday against the Dolphins for the preseason opener, we're going to be going live for every single game. Could we get to 127,000 by the end of Sunday? I think that's possible. Hit that subscribe button. Join us for the watch party. We'll be here all season long. Okay, these 5 players first, then we'll go quicker on 5 more. Must ball out in the preseason. Tyler Scott. And shout out to, I'll pull him up in my DMs, Michael Perez, I believe, yes, went to training camp practice on Thursday. He said Tyler Scott was often to himself and seemed disengaged. So I wonder if he kind of knows that he's on the outs here. But listen, strong preseason, maybe that changes. I do think he's on the outside looking in for making this roster. The clock is certainly ticking when it comes to the third-year wide receiver who we haven't heard from much during training camp. Even, guys like J.P. Richardson, Miles Boykin have outperformed him up to this point. And I got to be honest, I'm a little surprised and I'm definitely disappointed by his lack of development. I loved him coming out of Cincinnati. He averaged like 50 yards a touchdown in college. I mean, he was just a big-time playmaker there. And for whatever reason, it just hasn't translated. His first year, we saw some flashes, but at times he had issues tracking the ball downfield. He had some drops. So I was like, okay, 4th-round pick. He's going to have some ups and downs. And then last year, he didn't factor in at all. I think he had either 0 or like 2 catches the whole season. He didn't do anything. And I thought, okay, innovative offensive mind, creativity, Tyler Scott speed. Let's see what Ben Johnson can get out of him. And it seems like other guys are just better. So I don't know if he's disinterested. I don't know if, sometimes we just miss with our draft analysis. But Dane Brugler had him as like his 7th receiver in that draft as a 2nd-round grade, falls to the 4th. I loved the value. And he's just done hardly anything. It's just surprising to me. So you're kind of feeling like this is his last chance here in these 3 exhibitions to push for a roster spot. But he's for sure behind, Luther, Zacchaeus, Adunze, and DJ. I think he's behind Devin Duvernay, especially given his return ability. And Miles Boykin's had a better camp, but so has J.P. Richardson. So I think he's in trouble. I think it's a tall hill to climb, but, maybe it's not even possible. Maybe there's nothing he can do at this point to make the team. But if anyone could use a big-time preseason, it's Tyler Scott. The same is true for a guy like Dominique Robinson, who had a good OTAs period, got shouted out by Ben Johnson. Haven't heard his name a ton in camp. I will say on Thursday, he did beat Darnell Wright pretty bad once, apparently, so that's a good sign. That's a good rep. But it's been few and far between. And this quote from Dennis Allen caught my attention on Thursday's practice, after Thursday, I should say. He said, "I've been impressed with what he's been able to do, but he's still learning how to play the defensive end position." I understand he was a receiver recruit at a high school and switched positions in college. It's year 4. Like, sure, you're always learning and improving, but like, that's a quote I would expect to hear in like year 2. Like year 4, that's a bit of a red flag to me. I mean, at some point, initially you're a project, and then maybe that's just all you ever are. Like, it's just, you're an athletic guy, you're gifted with physical tools, but maybe you just don't know how to play the position. It kind of feels like that's where we're at with Dominique Robinson, where really good athlete, has good feet, but he just doesn't know how to play defensive end because he was never that his whole life. He switched to that in college, was successful in the MAC because he was so athletic. You get him in the NFL level, and he can't make hay. Like, it just doesn't work. So, I don't have expectations here. I was pretty surprised coming out of the OTA periods that he was a player Ben Johnson said, or shouted out. But what did I say at the time? I said, well, we've been here before with Dominique Robinson. Let's see what happens when the pads go on. And we haven't heard his name hardly at all during camp. We have a couple times, hasn't been completely quiet, but I don't have expectations even if he makes this team. And Whether it's him, whether it's Tano Passanio, whether it's Austin Booker, someone needs to emerge as that third edge rusher behind Montez Sweat and Dio Adengbo. And if no one does, you're going to have to go get someone, because I don't think you can lean on just two starters. They're defensive linemen. They're not going to play 95% of the snaps. So that is something to seriously monitor during the preseason. If you're not satisfied with what you have in your depth guys there, you're going to have to bring someone in, whether that's someone that gets cut on cut down day or whether that's signing a free agent. So we'll see where that goes. But Dominique Robinson, I need to see some flashes, buddy, if you're going to factor in and make this football team. Okay, today's show sponsored by Brunt. Ben Johnson brings his working boots today every single day, and so should you. You can get $10 off with code CHAT with Brunt and their boots and all their other items as well. And listen, I'm a homeowner. There's always projects around the house to work on, and Brunt's boots provide both comfort and the durability required to get these jobs done. Before I found Brunt, I can't tell you how many different working boots I tried and went through. I was always left with foot pain, blisters. They just didn't offer the overall performance that Brunt does. The Marin boots, which are my favorite from Brunt, are the most comfortable I've ever worn. You can finally have durable work boots that are comfortable as your sneakers. Believe me, they're lightweight, waterproof, slip and oil resistant, heat resistant, and electrical hazard rated. Join over 500,000 customers with Brunt, as they will let you try their boots on the job risk-free. And by the way, all their products have free shipping. Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there cutting corners. You work way too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So they built something better, boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. Get $10 off for a limited time only with code CHAT at checkout. That's code CHAT at bruntworkwear.com. Code CHAT. You can also use /chat at the end of that link, bruntworkwear.com/chat. After you order, they'll ask where you heard about Brunt. Tell them we sent you. That'll do us a favor. Bears Now by Chat Sports. Link is in the comments and description of this video. Get shopping today. Okay, J.P. Richardson. I think he's in a pretty good position, unless he's just horrendous in the preseason, to be on the practice squad. Is there a world he earns a roster spot? I think there's a path. I do think it's a narrow one, but he's had a really good camp. He has flashed a lot. It started the first day of camp when he made a diving one-handed catch on a scramble drill throw from Tyson Bagent, and he's made plays almost every single day. But he's going to need a strong preseason to make this team. So what is his path to making the team? Well, when he is out there at receiver, consistently get open and make plays, because he's going to be going up against 2, 3s, and sometimes 4s. So he needs to be beating, especially 3s and 4s, especially pretty consistently, and he's going to have to win his fair share of battles against opposing backup corners. If he can do that, make catches consistently, that'll be a good sign. And then also, can he be reliable in the return game? I would imagine in some of these preseason games, he's going to get an opportunity to return some punts. If he can pop a couple, obviously catch the ball cleanly, then maybe he does push a guy like Devin Duvernay who can hang on to that role. So I think it's a fairly big long shot. I do think he's safe to make the practice squad, but if he can really ball out, make a lot of plays at receiver, and also show value on special teams, then I do think there's a path for him to making this roster. So we'll see if he's able to do it or not. It all starts on Sunday. Okay, a couple more here, then we'll get to the other 5 guys. Nahshon Wright. I think he is pretty safe on this team, barring a bad preseason, because he's been working with the ones pretty consistently with Jalen Johnson now. It's been him and Tyrique Stevenson, with guys like Terrell Smith and Nick McLeod rotating in alongside Kyler Gordon at nickel. But the question is, can he show enough consistency in the preseason games against opponents to actually earn a starting job? Because that CB2 role is still up for grabs. We know Jalen's the CB1. We know Kyler's the starting nickel. But that CB2 job is out there. It's for the taking, and it could come down to these exhibition games to see who's going to be that guy, who plays with the best instincts, who makes plays on the football. Obviously himself, Tyrique Stevenson, Terrell Smith, I still think has a bit of an opportunity as well. I think someone has to take it away from Tyrique Stevenson, but Dennis Allen said it last week. I think it still holds true today. That CB2 job is up for grabs. It is not locked down by any means. So if you're Nahshon Wright, you haven't shown a ton in your career up to this point. Kind of a flop in Dallas, last year in Minnesota, just a backup. but this is an opportunity in real games, or at least preseason games, to make plays on the football, which is what he's been doing in practice. So I'm eager to see if he can do it, because he has press man physical attributes that I like. 6'4", 200 pounds. He fits that build, but you have to actually go make plays. So eager to see if he can do it. Who do you guys think is CB2? Type TS for Tyrique Stevenson, NW for Nahshon Wright, or if you think it's someone else, comment below. Terrell Smith. If you think it's a guy like Nick McLeod, I think he's in the mix as well. Throw their names down in the comments. All right, last one before we go a little rapid fire. Theo Benedet, the Canadian Eagle, if you watched Hard Knocks last year. He's been getting some reps consistently with the twos, but also a few with the ones because Karan Amagaji's missed some time, obviously. Braxton Jones, there's been days where they've limited his reps. Alex Shapiro had the note. He got some first-team reps at left tackle. That was during the goal line installation drill. So some of that could have been just getting extra linemen on the field. But with Karan Amagaji hurt, he's taken advantage of those opportunities. A lot of the work he's gotten is at right tackle with the twos, because obviously Braxton, Ozzy, and Karan were in that three-man competition at left tackle. And then Theo Benedet's been working behind Darnell Wright with the second-team offense. So I do think he's in the mix to potentially make this team. I'd say he's a lock to make the practice squad at this point, but I think there's an opportunity for him to make the roster. I actually had him making the roster in my most recent 53-man roster projection. The only thing you wonder is because the top four there are virtual locks, unless they trade one, right? Like, could they trade one to the Chargers for the Rashawn Slater situation? I don't know. Well, things happen that we don't anticipate, but Darnell Wright's on this team. Braxton's on this team if there's no trade. Obviously, Ozzy Trapilo on this team. They just drafted him in the second round. And I think even though he's been injured at times and last year wasn't great, Karan Amagaji was having some good practices before he went down recently, and he was a third-round pick last year. I don't think they're cutting him. Will you keep 5 offensive tackles? That's I don't know. I think that would be the one thing that could keep Theo Benedet off the team. So maybe for the Bears, put him in at guard at times. Can he hold up at guard? Do they give Karan Amagaji some looks at guard when he plays? I don't know if he's going to be healthy for the preseason opener, but I think that's his path to the roster. If some of these guys are versatile and can kick inside, including himself, if he's just a tackle and he's the 5th tackle, he could be on the outside looking in. So keep an eye on him. Few more just to monitor. Austin Booker, I think he's on the team, but opportunity there to be that third edge rusher. That job is up for grabs to be that number 1 rotate in guy coming off the edge. So we'll see if he's able to do that. Big preseason last year. We'll see if he can do it again. Zacch Pickens, kind of like Tyler Scott, kind of feels like a last chance. Hasn't done much in camp, but if he could pop in the preseason, maybe he sneaks onto the roster, especially with Shamar Turner's injury. Noah Sewell, right now, he's the man to beat for that number 3 linebacker job, kind of like Nahshon Wright, strong preseason, probably earns a starting job. So keep an eye, or at least kind of a fringe starter. We know in base defense it's 2 linebackers, but you guys know what I mean. Ian Wheeler, I think right now he's looking more like a practice squad player, but can he have a strong preseason like he did a year ago? If he can, perhaps he pushes his way onto the roster. And then Joel Wilson, Steven Carlson's had a little bit of a better camp at tight end, but these games could carry some weight. We'll see if he can push to be that 4th tight end, assuming they do keep 4 on the 53, which I think they will. All right, let us know who needs to ball out the most during the preseason. Throw a name down in the comments. Like, to me, this isn't like a Caleb or Rome. Like, those guys are going to be judged on Sundays when the games actually start, the real games. To me, you're talking about roster bubble guys, young guys looking to take the next step, stuff like that, which obviously Caleb and Rome are, but I don't think their preseason successes or failures are going to have heavy weight on how they play in the regular season. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Be sure to subscribe and join us on Sunday for the preseason opener. We'll be live at least an hour before kickoff. That's 11 a.m. Central Time, perhaps even 10:45. So turn on those notifications, and we'll see you then. Bear down.